fine.
Well, didn't he say I didn't shoot her? Or did?
But if you know the true situation, like, bro, you gotta take the fall. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, because he didn't say she should.
Yeah, that's the thing where we're conflating. Like, because where they're gonna be like, oh, well, he's a snitch. So he's supposed to go to jail for something he ain't do?
Perfect.
What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy back with another episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. You know, I'm in the building with my dog, my partner, my guy, Spec. What's good, brother?
Not much, man. I'm back.
Back in the building, man. Shout out to everybody out there checking in on the YouTube. Make sure you hop in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, of course, make sure you hit the notifications so you know when we on. You know how it's going. Leave a like, too. We like that. You know what I'm saying? And usually, you know what I'm saying, I throw into a comment right now, but I want to give a shout out to my nephew, man. Shout out to my nephew, Sean. He just got accepted to Penn State University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so he's going to be starting there in the fall. It's that graduation season, man. I got a couple to go to myself, and we're going to get right into it, Spec. It's been a long week. It's been a long time coming, too. We could talk about this one, man. This Plicker Spotlight story. Might be a big case, might be a little case, and this one's definitely a big one, man. Like I said, we was waiting a long time to talk about the Sean P. Diddy, Combs, Puff Daddy, if you from our era, whatever you want to call him, the case is finally going down. And
Brother Love.
Yep. That was the last one, man. He almost made it out the game with the Brother Love one, man. But what is Diddy on trial for? Right, it's sex trafficking, right? It's believe
RICO.
It was a RICO. It's transporting people across state lines for the purpose of immoral acts or sex. So there's a lot going on. A lot going on with Diddy, man. And like day one of this case, even just from the jury selection, even before you even get to day one, the jury selection was like, it was already messy. You had people coming in that like knew the judge. Some dude worked in the prison. Like it was just like all types of people were slipping through the cracks. But finally they got the jury figured out. They started day one. And how did you, what if you were just early in the case? Just take yourself back to, I guess that would have been Monday, right?
Diddy like some freaky shit.
Diddy.
He into some freaky shit, man.
Definitely is some freaky shit. Definitely a violent guy, too, man.
Yeah.
He's,
but I mean, I feel like, you know, we've heard stories over the years, but, you know, you never really knew the extent. But I heard, you know, they may be claiming that he's bipolar. So, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense there. But, you know, definitely a violent dude. That's the picture that's being painted.
And we see, I think we even mentioned on this podcast before, we've seen violence from Puff, from the Steve Stout champagne bottle incident over the Nas Hate Me Now issue, the coach that he got into the issue with. So we've seen it come out, you know what I mean? Like, and heard he smacked Drake. You know what I'm saying? So we've heard of him fighting J. Cole, all types of rumors. So it's a lot to take in. But in this, it's different because one is domestic violence on a woman. All those other things I said weren't him beating up a woman. It wasn't that. And then, of course, it wasn't his girlfriend's. You know what I'm saying? Someone that he was supposed to be in.
Blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Oh, no, allegedly, but
well, no, Cudi confirmed it.
That's the crazy part about it. They're just talking about it like it's a TV show.
Pulled a Suge and apparently hung one of her friends off the balcony.
I heard that was Wale, but Wale denies it.
I thought it was a girl that he did that too.
I heard he did. So maybe the Wale shit is separate.
But Cassie was messing with Wale too?
No, but I heard it was Puff that, I don't know if he maybe knew about the Kid Cudi thing. Yeah, because we'll get into all this.
I didn't hear nothing about Wale.
The Kid Cudi, from what I understand, Puff introduced them.
Okay.
Like, I think she was going to get on a song. They were working on, or he was working on a song with her. So then he felt kind of like betrayed by that, I think. But I don't know I don't even know if the Wale thing was related, but I know Wale spoke out this week saying it's a ridiculous thing. But I have heard that from other people. That's not the first time I heard it. I don't know if I believe it as much, but day one, they brought in a security guard from the hotel. That video that we see, CNN dropped from the hotel, is apparently the security guard that was working that night. Okay. Came up and responded to that. Says on record that he was offered money from Puff. Says that he recorded his own video for some purpose, I guess maybe because he just felt if he told his wife, she wouldn't believe him. So he had to have video.
And he probably couldn't take the hotel security video. So
so he had to have something he could show to people, exactly. But it wasn't for, basically I think they were he wasn't doing it for investigative purposes. He was he was a security guard, but he was more like yo, bro, you kind of like violated policy. You broke stuff here. You're going to have to pay for some of this stuff. And he was like, how Puff was coming out with stacks of money, kind of like, not to pay for that, but really to pay for
his silence.
Exactly. He said he denied just taking any money from Puff. Just like he said he saw somebody else that was there. I believe the defense tried to say that wasn't true because it's a presidential room. How would you have been able to see someone sitting on a bed? The rooms aren't set up like that. There's a lot of back and forth going on, but that was definitely a security guard on day one. And then the second witness on day one was a male escort. This guy was telling everything. This guy was just going on talking about how he met Puff and Cass. It was started, this is my thing, right? Are escort services legal businesses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about in every state, but they, escort, that's legal prostitution.
Because you just it's not prostitution. You're hanging with some. That's what the business is.
Well, that's what they may put on paper,
but
companionship but I mean, you pay, it's legal.
But I see how it can slide through the crack, kind of like, how there's, you ever heard of like, sugar daddies and sugar babies. But there's like an app that like sets it up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how is that legal? But I think because the insinuation of sex isn't guaranteed.
Right.
There are people.
It's for companionship.
Yeah.
Now that's a broad term.
Exactly, and I think if you know, is there. So because I believe they contact this male escort through like an actual service, have him come by. He thought he was just gonna be dancing. Cassie answered the door, said something about they're gonna rub oil on each other. Her husband's gonna watch. And they don't have to do anything, but if it goes further, that's cool too. And he said that was the first time he did something for them. Puff just watched, but he was given direction. The same as male escort talks about a story of urinating in Cassie's mouth, which the prosecutors alluded that was going to be mentioned in his testimony. But he said that she requested it. It wasn't like something like a request of Puff's or demand of Puff's. It was something that she requested. Which I don't know if the prosecution was expecting him to say that.
Nasty.
Yeah, that is the wild. That enough is like, one, her current husband and father of her kids is in the courtroom to hear some of this stuff. Two, she was messing with other guys at the same time she was messing with Puff. And I'm like, what were y'all doing with her? You know what I'm saying? Like when she was on again, off again with Puff. And then just now that you know that this was going on when she wasn't with you, like, how does that make you feel about her? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure she wasn't just telling people that she was dating. Right. That's what something that she did. Freak offs were recorded. It sounds like they knew that they were recorded. Like, she was very aware because
there's nothing that she ain't know. She knew. Yeah, very much.
But you know what I'm not getting, and I tried to do research in several places. Were there other people involved? Because they speak a lot about lighting. Mm-hmm. They say sometimes it was candles and how the oil was supplied. But who are the other people that are Puffy and
they could have set up the space and then left or some shit.
You think that's what happened? Okay,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming.
There's no mention of these people, so I'm like, is Puff and Cass setting the whole room up and like?
I doubt that they set it all up.
Yeah. So there had to be another, like a third party at least.
But that third party wouldn't be able to confirm anything other than I just set up decorations. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna be doing.
Gotcha. They asked for a lot of like baby oil. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Day 2. The freak offs were actually described in detail, just how they were set up, like what was going on. This is when Cassie started actually, I believe she started to testify on day 2. She painted a story of freak offs were Puff's thing. Once she kind of got out of, I don't know if she was ever into him, but once she definitely wasn't feeling him anymore, she didn't feel comfortable relaying that to him because she said, I think she felt like he opened up a side of himself to her, and she didn't want to make him feel like ashamed or bad about what he opened up. But also there was a revenge type of effect to it, where he would blackmail her and say that you knew that this is recorded. I got tons of tapes. You got a lot of work on the hard drives, was I believe one of the quotes that I think he said to her. So she paints a picture of these things going on farther than they were. In later days, Puffy's defense, in cross-examination, kind of show like you were complicit in a lot of these things. Like you were setting up, and I think that's what she was trying to show, that she was part of setting up some of these things, and that it was an actual thing. And I don't know if she has some sort of immunity, but it sounds as if like if she doesn't, that she would be right next to Puff, something like that, because she definitely was. If he's guilty of transporting people across state lines,
she was a part of it.
She was a part of it. Now, whether she was funding it. she was calling. She was making requests. She knew these escorts by name. She painted a picture of also being on a lot of drugs. They both were, apparently. She was really in a bad state from what she says. So a lot of these times she wasn't, I guess, present
in her right mind.
Yeah,
right
exactly. What you would say. I don't know how much that, and it's not. It doesn't matter what I believe or don't believe, but I don't know how much of that I really.
It's a tough one. You know why? Because it's kind of like abuse is a real thing, like psychological abuse. But where do you draw the line between the psychological abuse and then your responsibility as an adult, right? And because she's not a kid, she wasn't a kid at this point.
She was extremely young.
She was young. Yeah, she was young. But again,
college age, maybe.
Right. But again, so there is the psychological abuse, but then there's also the parts where she was clearly complicit.
But two things could be true. Like, it's like when you try to say, like, in a sexual assault case, well, they'll be like, well, she was down for it another night, so she was cool with it a week ago. That don't mean she was cool with it that night, you know what I'm saying? And that's the night you in trouble for. So that's like, you can't, I get what people are trying to paint. Well, obviously the defense, that's what their job is going to try to paint it as something that she did. But it doesn't mean that this element didn't exist of abuse. And like you said, the psychological part of it's big. Now, do you remember, I'm going to stop, rewind real far back. Do you remember Ryan Leslie? Remember that guy? Right? He had
the singer.
Yeah.
R&B.
He produced like Cassie's first album.
Okay, yep.
He had a song called Addicted. She was like on the hook. I think that's where we first heard her. Then she came out with the Me and You song. They were dating at the time.
I didn't know that. Good.
Yeah,
you mean Ryan Leslie and Cassie? Or
yes, Ryan Leslie and Cassie were dating at that time. It seems like Ryan brought her to Puff, got her the deal, and then Puff kind of stole her. And I'm assuming Ryan didn't like that. You know what I mean? So I remember at the time hearing about the rumors. Now, do you remember when Cassie's nudes got leaked?
Yeah, I kind of remember.
Like a little bit, right? Like it was early in the game. That might have been pre Kim Kardashian sex tape. It was the internet wasn't exactly what it was now, where your nudes being leaked. Now it's still a big deal, but not as big because it still happened to so many other people. Whereas then it was kind of like, wow, this girl's a celebrity and she's butt naked, like spread eagle on it. You know what I mean? So I think that plays a lot into it because she was really young when that happened, right? That was a really, whether that's revenge porn, whether that's what it is. People say that Ryan Leslie leaked those. I don't know how true that is. Allegedly, that Ryan Leslie would have did that out of anger or out of jealousy or whatever. But you got to imagine after going through that, then someone hitting you with the threat of, well, you're doing these sex acts on video, and if you don't, or if things go left between us, or if you want to leave me, I'm leaking that. I'm showing that to people. That's got to play like a different fact than someone who that didn't happen to. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I've been through this already. I kind of say what you will. Like, it didn't ruin her career, so to speak. I'm not sure how big her career really was.
I mean, I feel like once she got with Puff, the career stopped.
Career didn't matter at that point. Yeah, it was kind of like you were big. You were still able to live this lifestyle whether you were successful or not.
She came out with maybe like 2 songs. I feel like once
after
she was
with
Puff. So,
and then it was weird too. I remember when she first came out, a lot of people were like, "Well, can she really sing? Cause she can't dance. She can't do this." It was weird. It was a weird time in music where I think a lot of people were just trying to like find a pretty face. I can't remember the timeline, but like, was Ashanti before or after Cassie?
Before.
She was before Cassie. So I think Ashanti. And this isn't my thought. I actually saw this on like a YouTube short recently, but I was like, it made sense. Where like they were like how Irv cheat coded the game with Ashanti, where. Remember back in the day, everyone had to be able to sing and dance. And he was like, she could sing-ish, but she couldn't dance. There wasn't much dancing on stage, and he was like, and then he just threw her on a bunch of remakes. Like, it was the Biggie joint, then it was I think the Jay-Z, the Rain on Me was like a Jay-Z sample. It was a bunch of, like, remakes that she had thrown on. And I didn't think it was the greatest point, but I think it's that people in the industry saw a pretty girl and was like, oh, if I can get this pretty girl in this spot. Remember, like, then we had the Tiara Marie's after that.
Right. Then you had a lot of them like that after that.
They really couldn't dance.
They couldn't dance. They were just a pretty face. And They were all right
the face
singing.
was prettier than the singing. Put it like that. And
they can take care of the rest in the, post production. Okay.
What they call it, the auto tune, and they throw some auto tune on her. It's just have her lip sync in performances. She just step back and forth on the stage. Remember a lot of 106 Park performances? It was just mad dances in the back, but the main chick was just going back and forth like that. And then I think Cassie fell in that where she was like, she was gonna be one. They were like, there's a pretty face, and I think at some point they realized, well, there are pretty girls who could dance too and sing. So why are we doing this? Because it's more work.
Right.
There got to be more work. Like it can't be. You know what I mean? So back to the case though. Like what else came out that day? Oh, this was a wild one. Puff. So at the end of the freak offs, the happy ending, the money shot. I guess the dude would finish on Cassie, and then she would rub that on Puff's nipples, or that was his request.
Dude is freaky.
Wild boy. One of him. They showed their text messages. I think in her phone, he was saved as Pop, which is like I think what people call their grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Pop and the semen on the nipples was like. Yeah, okay, Diddy looking wild. And then her family's in there. Her Cassie's husband and I think her brother's there. And then his kids are there. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I'd be like, yo, stay home. Like, this is crazy.
The sons, I'm okay with because they probably
know he was a wild boy.
But the daughters,
the twins, right? Yeah. They're like, yeah, I don't know. If Diddy get out, he could be hosting them sperm races that they got out in LA. If Diddy beat this side, he might be the official face of the sperm races, man. Day 3 was more nasty information, man. We found out about Cassie's UTIs being so bad that like antibacterial or whatever, what do they call antibiotics weren't taking care of them.
Damn.
Which I think have to be pretty bad. There was sores in her mouth and yeah, you feel bad for her at this point, and she's reliving this stuff again. Not only was it bad to go through, but to have to say it in a room full of people, and she's like 9 months pregnant.
Yeah,
and I don't think I mentioned that. Kid Cudi was brought up on day 3. That I guess it was during a breakup of some sort, but somehow Puffy, Diddy, he convinced them to sit down and have a dinner with him, and he was just stating, I think this is putting it lightly, but his displeasure with what they were doing because, like I said, he put them in the studio together and introduced them. They alluded to something about Kid Cudi's car, but I think this was before it got blown up. But there was a threat definitely made, and Puff, denied that he didn't know what they were talking about. I think that something that came up is that she was still like on and off with Puff though. Like she would break up.
It wasn't.
But I think like before that dinner with Kid Cudi, there was a freak off like the night before or something like that. She said. She had
that she was a part of?
Yeah. There were her pictures of abuse had come out of her just getting like bruises on her face, being beat up so bad. Stories came out of abuse, people have saw, that people had to stop, that people had to help her with. It was revealed that the settlement that originally kind of set this whole thing off, that when she had first come out, was they reached a $20 million settlement. She had wanted 30, but I think they asked how she came with that number, and she was like, "I just felt that's what I was owed." She also revealed of a time where sexual assault was done. She was during their off time of dating. I guess she agreed to have a dinner with Diddy, and then went back to her apartment. And at that point, he forced himself upon her. So, like I said, I'm sure that wasn't. This whole week had to be hard for Cassie. Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm sure that wasn't an easy day, but I can't imagine that any of these days were easy, man. And day 4 was cross-examination, so I'm imagining that's when it started getting realer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she had just stories of the text messages showing that tried to paint a picture of how much she wanted freak offs to happen, her requesting freak offs, and I think they had to like kind of censor some of this stuff because they were like, they're sexting each other, but is it really necessary for the case or not? So I believe some of it was granted, but there were definitely pictures painted of her request of freak offs, how bad her drug use was. Puff trying to get her into a rehab program. Puff telling dealers to stop selling to her.
Oh really?
Telling her friends, which kind of went against her testimony originally with the prosecution of saying that.
And that's where this makes this all messy. It's just kind of like.
But relationships are like that where No, they both had a drug problem.
No, they did.
That's clear because she said on this day she revealed Puff had the overdose that they somehow kept out of the media. And that
wait, that Puff had an overdose?
Yeah.
Oh, word? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was a. Hold on, let me see if I get more information on it. And I don't know how they. I guess they know. Well, they obviously do know doctors that are gonna do stuff for them because I believe one time Cassie was so beat up, and had to get stitches, but they didn't want to take her to like somewhere where it might get out to the press, and she recanted that in court also. Hollywood Reporter says that Sean Diddy Combs overdosed on the night of a Playboy Mansion party in 2012. The rap mogul's tumultuous relationship with R&B singer Cassie Ventura was painstakingly detailed on the stand for a third day, as she discussed their infidelity, substance abuse, and violent decade together. Yeah, so it's at the Playboy Mansion. Once again, how they kept that out of like the media. 2012 was like camera phones was,
and they're at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like they're at a private, at his private event.
But yeah, I mean, that just kind of shows you how that whole Illuminati situation out there work. You know what I'm saying?
But I think maybe they take away people's phones at the Playboy Mansion and not allowed to have those communications.
I can imagine that, but it's more so the hospital. How'd you get the hospital or not, or whatever? Like,
they said they rushed him to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which I guess you have high profile clients. You know what I mean? Who they were probably paid to be quiet. Who knows? Just want to make sure. Yeah, but they were
That's
using
interesting.
painkillers and opioids at the time. She said he was an addict. He needed to recover. I'm trying to see if they say particularly what they were on that night. That evening we had a freak off. We went to a sex club in San Bernardino, and then he had a party at the Playboy Mansion that night, and I went home.
He had a party. Okay.
Yeah, from what Combs told me, he took a really strong opioid that night. But we didn't know what happened, so we took him to the hospital. So he might have took a pill from somebody or something that he didn't know what it was. Who knows? But yeah, ended up having to be rushed. So maybe he made it back home, and then that's when they had to take him.
Yeah.
Who knows? But that came out, yeah. And like I said, her how bad her drug use was. So they seem like they both was in a really bad situation with that, and. Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad for Diddy. Like, I don't know if that makes it seem like this was just a relationship where they both were.
Well, it makes it more, like it's not all on him. Kind of, there's two sides. I mean, they were both in this together. Doesn't absolve. There's things that he definitely did that were just clearly wrong. But and I think that this is what the defense is banking on, like showing her side of things in terms of like she's not the angel, she's not as innocent as everybody is claiming. Yeah, I may have fucked up a few times, but she has a role to play in this.
And I think because there was such a confusion on what the crime was that he's actually being charged for, I went to this thinking that we were going to hear about like, and it's week one, this still may happen, but like sex parties where like celebrities are watching like group sex going on, where it seems like this was more so like something that him and his girlfriend did when they got bored, or like to liven things up, I guess would be the thing. It'd be like the equivalent to like an old white couple going to like hedonism and getting a black dude, being a cuck. Well, he is a cuck. Like, he is cucking. Right. This is actually the true nature of cucking. There were times I guess he got involved too. I think she detailed some of those. Further beyond the nipple semen shit, but he actually like involving himself but never doing nothing with the dudes either. I haven't heard of nothing like that, which is good for Puff, I guess. Like, he's like I said, it's week one, so I think it could get a lot wilder. Also, although Cassie doesn't have probably like think of him in the best light, she's received $20 million for her silence. She also loved him,
and she also got $10 million from
the hotel, I think, right?
Yeah, the hotel.
Yeah, and so that being said, she also said after the sexual assault happened, she went back. You know what I mean? The relationship was back on again at a certain point. So it seems as if I still have to say she might still have feelings for him now, where she could be holding back a little bit. But there's people that's supposed to testify that don't like Puff at all, Dawn, I think from
the group.
What were they? Dirty Money.
Yeah.
Dirty Money. Yeah. What was the girls' group that they had? Not Day 21. That was the guys' group, right? Danity Kane. Danity Kane. Yeah. So she's supposed to testify. I think a former manager is supposed to testify as well. So it might get weirder. I can guarantee it probably will. But I don't know if they're gonna get him. It's just it seems like Puff is doing a lot of illegal stuff and probably had a lot of illegal means of getting the stuff that he wanted, whether it be prostitutes or drugs. But I don't know if we're gonna paint this picture of him as being some like crime lord.
That's the piece.
And that's what it feels like they're going for. Like, and so a lot remains to be seen. But it's just, like I said, weird. Definitely a weird guy, and they're gonna paint him to be like a sex fiend, a drug addict, and all these things. But at the end of the day, it's also like he was a drug addict that ran how many successful companies at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't sing. It doesn't give like crime mogul.
And I don't know if I would put drug addict as because I doubt he was an addict more than I work hard, and when it's time to play, I'm gonna play even harder. Yeah, type of deal.
That was the image I think he put out, but I have heard the other side of it too. Like he's pretty like recently, like that even as not the end of his run, so to speak, when he was hanging with what was the City Girls. Young Miami. Yeah, I heard of him like having a pretty bad drug problem. I don't know how true it is or not, but yeah, man. We're gonna keep y'all definitely informed here on what's going on with this whole Diddy case, because it's all everybody's talking about nowadays. Every time, you know what I'm saying, there's a new little piece of testimony that comes out, you see it right there on Twitter, somebody talking about it. So we definitely gonna keep you informed and let y'all know how it's going down, man. And moving on. What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy, and I'm here with my guy Spec, and we representing for the Perfect Talk podcast.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe, people.
And of course, hop in the comments, let us know what you thinking. And go check out the website, www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. All the episodes right there.
Yes, sir.
We have, when I don't speak to my dude Spec in a few weeks, we got to take it to a segment called Since We Spoke. Spec, since the last time we chopped it up, man. Prayers up for Tory Lanez. You know, God was on his side, man. He was stabbed 14 times in a California prison by a 42-year-old inmate named Santino Casillo. Even Lanez's own account on Instagram putting the stories that Tory was attacked 14 times, including 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, 1 to the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed, and he was placed on a breathing apparatus. He is now breathing on his own. Despite being in pain, he is talking normally in good spirits and deeply thankful to God that he's pulling through. He also wants to thank everyone for their continued prayers and support.
Yeah, man, lucky to be alive.
Very lucky to be alive. He's serving a 10-year prison sentence for obviously the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion, which is the timing of this is a little funny because I believe this was like the same week where quote unquote new evidence has come to light in the Megan Thee Stallion shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a press conference. I believe this happened after his stabbing, but I want to play the audio from it. But basically, he had a press conference in which there's a group of people they call Unite the People. They're like a group of lawyers that seem to be taking the Tory Lanez case. I don't know if there's his actual like hired lawyers, but they seem to be taking an interest in it. They could be possibly be getting paid by it.
Long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Miss Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. Our District Attorney, George Gaston, Megan Pete and her representatives, and Kelsey Harris and her representatives. The only party that responded last week was Megan Pete's representatives with a request for more information. A few days later, Mr. Peterson's brutally attacked in his jail cell.
The second audio there was trying to kind of like tie the 2 events together, that once they contacted
they put a hit out on it.
Megan's people. They heard back from Megan's people basically saying they wanted more information, but then obviously the stabbing had taken place, which is a wild thing to put out there. Definitely a wild accusation for lawyers to make against another just a person at all. Jason Lee, who has Hollywood Unlocked, released a text from Tory Lanez kind of saying the same thing.
Completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how life works. And to think they made me the poster boy for the unprotection of black women, when in all honesty, I protected 2 black women, one from getting shot and one from going to jail. Never said nothing in 8 to 10 years for them to live. It's a crazy, crazy place we live in. I said, but why you ain't just say that? When I got shot, I told. And he said, I lost my mother at 11 years old. I couldn't sleep with myself. I was the reason for taking a mother away from her kid. I just couldn't do it.
But because he had lost his mother at a young age, he did not want to take another mother away from her child for whatever amount of time. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying. Like, that's where it gets weird for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really knew that, I don't know. And I never really had that much interest in this type of thing. I always kind of was like, this is pretty cut and dry. Like, wouldn't you, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, but apparently it's not. I just don't know why Megan, if she was shot by somebody else, would want to not say that person shot her.
I mean, it was her friend
And then,
at one point.
Well, but are they still friends?
No,
like,
no,
I can imagine after that happened or whatever, you know, went down.
Also, she lost her mother. So
You could be the same boat that Tory's in. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
That's a wild thing to
That
do to
is weird,
somebody,
though. Like,
but what if he saved your life? It sounds
right,
like it was
exactly.
Like, it could have been a lot worse. If that's how the story went, no, we don't know that. But it's just like that. It's just too much. Like,
my what?
Yeah, like doubt and something funny happened, and I don't necessarily know if what we think is the truth is the truth.
No, because nobody's talking. Like, no, it's just kind of like
it seems very fishy. But I'll say that if Tory Lanez is sitting in jail for something he didn't do, and then now on top of that has been attacked in jail, it's really crazy. And like people can always be like on the internet tie things together, be like, well, Mexico is right next to Texas. And Megan Thee Stallion from Texas, and wasn't that a Mexican that's standing out there, California? And you know they got the connect. That seemed far-fetched too, to be honest with you. But anything is possible, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is just a sad situation. Like it really is, because you got a dude locked up who had a promising career. You know what I'm saying? He's still making music in there. This is always going to follow Megan Thee Stallion around. She seems to be moving on, but if what she's being accused of is real, I mean, that's
it's tough.
You put a black man in jail. Like, that's it. It's hard to support that. You know what I'm saying? Falsely put a black man in jail. Right. Excuse me. Yeah. Like, hey, snitch if you got to, but to falsely put a black man in jail, and that's the other thing. I think that we got as literally. I mean, I'm just talking to hip hop culture. If you in the streets and all that, but there got to be a thing where we look at hip hop as like a career. Like Snoop Dogg has said some cool shit in an interview I heard of him this week on the Breakfast Club, where like I guess Warren G felt some type of way of not being, you know, Snoop just put out a new album, and they just dropped Missionary a couple months ago with the Dr. Dre Snoop album.
Oh yeah, I never listened to that.
And now Snoop put out his own joint, but I guess they were talking to Warren G. And you know, like media people, they like to stir up trouble, so they possibly could have been trying to stir up trouble, but basically they said that Warren G was like, I wouldn't like to just be in the studio. I didn't even have to be on no songs. I didn't have to be no collaborator. I just would have wanted to be in the studio. Where it's just that's like I just want to be around my people. I want to be around love. But then Snoop's side of it was like, when I work with Dre, I don't bring nobody with me.
I don't bring my friends to work.
Yeah. Why would you bring your friend? This is a multi-million-dollar career that Snoop has had. Like, he's worked hard to do it. He's put work in. And he said that's a real grown man thought. Like, why am I taking my friends to the studio? Then I got to be responsible for what they do and, like, what happens. And, like, that's really how we need to start looking at hip. Like, this is a job. Like, right. So we got to get out of that street.
But in you know, contrast to that statement, I mean, it is hip hop, and hip hop has always had the entourage, right? And so it's been a staple. You know, you bring your peoples with you.
Yeah, for security, a lot of times, like when you're young, or you know what I mean, or it's just like young people. Like when we were younger, we walked around in large groups of people. We don't do that now in our 40s. That's right. Be kind of weird. So it's like. But I said that to say we gotta also the same way to grow up from that. Like it's not a diss to Warren G. Like it's not like you wasn't invited or don't come along. It was like this is work. Like if we needed you,
he wasn't invited. So.
But if we needed you there for a specific purpose, we would have called you for that purpose. But to just be in the studio smoking blunts, like we passed that. We don't need that. So we also got to move on from like, yo, Tory, if you ain't shoot this person, what it's not snitching if you say I didn't shoot her. Like you going down for a crime.
Well, didn't he say I didn't shoot her? Or did?
But if you know the true situation, like bro, you gonna take the fall. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, because he didn't say she should.
Yeah, that's the thing when we're conflating. Like because they're gonna be like, oh well, he's a snitch. So he's supposed to go to jail for something he didn't do that he's being falsely accused of.
Well,
how does that make sense?
I mean, you know what Giannis said. Where I come, snitches get stitches.
I'm not the guy that points fingers because in my neighborhood, snitches get stitches. So I don't want to say something.
That's what I'm saying. Like we got to get away from that because it's been muddied. Right. Like that snitching shit is like me and you get in a fight. Something happened. It don't work out well for me. I go tell on you. Right. Me and you sell drugs together, and I get jammed up, and I know I can get less time. I go tell on you. Well, if Tory Lanez is being accused of shooting somebody, and in fact he saved her from being shot, that's snitching. Like, come on. And if you're sitting in jail for 10 years now getting stabbed by random dudes doing life, it doesn't seem like a smart mentality. We got to move on from that. And I don't think, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think Tory Lanez would have caught the 6ix9ine treatment for defending himself in that manner. That's two separate things. Like,
yeah, I mean, if it went down like we're hearing now, that's not necessarily snitching.
Yeah.
I mean,
but somebody's gonna try to obviously paint.
Yeah, I mean, but
I think he would have had a flourishing career without it. Like, I really would have. It would have been a hard argument to kind of paint.
Gunna still has a career.
Exactly. No, 100%. You're right about that.
And that situation could have been worse. Yeah, is worse than
somebody looking at it like that's your homeboy.
Right.
I look at it like Gunna shouldn't have been going down for something anyway. Like, but some people might. Not everybody's gonna look at it the way I look at it, but. Yeah, 100%. Like you said, so Gunna might have had it worse than Tory Lanez would have had it. I feel like if he would have just been defending himself and saying that. But to each his own, man. But you gotta live with the decisions that you make. And now you and Jen pop with people that might not have the best intentions for you, and you know what I mean. You got to take what comes with that. Spec, since we spoke, man, NBA news. There's been a lot of NBA news, but this is one that I had wanted to bring to the table. Michael Jordan is joining the NBA on NBC. If you don't know, the NBA on NBC is returning. They NBA announced a 11-year deal with NBC Universal to broadcast NBA and WNBA regular season and playoff games beginning with the 2025-2026 season. And Peacock will live stream exclusive national Monday night games. Ooh, okay. I didn't know that. And Michael Jordan will be joining the broadcast team. Now, he'll be a special contributor. From what I understand, he'll be doing like pre-recorded stuff. So I don't know if he's gonna be sitting at the booth. Okay, right. But I wouldn't expect a billionaire to be doing that either. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't necessarily need it, but he probably just wants to. He has a lot of basketball insight. Michael Jordan's forgot more basketball than any of us have learned. So I know he has something to bring to it. And if you got the right production team, I think they could make cool work. I would have liked to see him at the desk, like on some Chuck and Shaq and Kenny shit. But I'll take what I could get from Jordan because. It's weird, right? It kind of feels like during the LeBron era, Jordan's been silent other than The Last Dance. Now, I don't know if he knew that was cooking the whole time and knew that he was always going to drop that. But it feels like he could have had a big... You look at the Tom Brady just retired hops on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kenny and Shaq and Kenny and Chuck have been on that show for decades.
Yeah, I just think there's never been Jordan's stilo. Once he left the game, he left.
I also think when he retired, there was a different stigma on doing that job than there is now.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. I think there was like a look down on it, and I think still to this day, we're going to talk about it later, but I think there's like a little stink on it because it's kind of like it gives off you need to work where you might not. But let's also it goes back to the same.
I think it just depends on because for like instance, like Shaq, that seemed like a natural transition for him
because he was already a superstar. Yeah.
He's a superstar, but you know he's a personality, so you want personalities on TV.
Yeah.
Like MJ, I don't necessarily see as a personality per se. Like when I heard he was joining the, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I wonder how he's going to be. Is it going to be like another Paul Pierce on TV? Like
I
you
like
don't
Paul
belong
Pierce on TV though.
Do you? Yeah, I never thought I felt like.
Well, no. Oh, you know what? I like Paul Pierce now that LeBron. Now he doesn't have to talk about LeBron, if that makes sense, because it just seems like it's Skip Bayless, like you're hating. You know that's not your real opinion.
So I guess like for me, like the people I want to see on TV are the people like who sound right, who have some type like. for instance, like Jalen Rose, I feel like he's really good. Paul Pierce, I just feel like he's just very, very, very unpolished, and I'd rather not.
He's a little ghetto.
I'd rather not, you know.
I didn't care for watching Dwight Howard on there the other night.
Do I like? It's just like, you know, certain people are fit for TV. Yeah. I guess.
Romo just came out and he's built for it.
Right.
Then like Drew Brees tried to do it, and it was
it's not for everybody.
Which is, I think, and I think there's also an element to Jordan's career where probably being low key has like helped his success.
Yeah.
It's like he don't need everything out in the street, so I can get why you don't want to be on Front Street. But I look forward to this. I'm excited to see what it could be. Since we spoke, somehow Chris Brown found himself arrested again. Man, I remember thinking like Chris Brown got the Grammy
for old stuff. Let's
2023 incident. But I definitely was looking at Chris Brown like he won the Grammy this year. I think they tried to make like a smear documentary about him that didn't really get any buzz because it felt like that's this old stuff and it's allegations that haven't been proven, yada, yada, yada. I felt like Chris Brown was having a really good run, and then this came up. But like you brought up, this was a 2023 incident where it looks like he hit somebody with a bottle over the head. He was arrested, however, this past week in Manchester, England. I believe he was out there for a few like tour dates, or I think he was doing at least a short run of shows, and they were like, "Oh, he coming to town?"
I'm just surprised, like, your people don't know that, like, you know, that you have a warrant or like something, like.
I heard,
but we hear these stories all the time about celebrities, you know, going over and then, or rappers, you know, getting caught up, jammed up for something in the past. But it's kind of like, I would like to think y'all wouldn't know that. You can't.
He's like a big artist. Chris Brown's not like, you can't find him. You can get in contact with Chris Brown's people, which makes me think they didn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're not the first person I heard ask that question.
But I'm saying, like, how, as the people, like, I'm your representative, right? I'm your manager. I'm obviously booking tours here. Wouldn't I know, okay, these incidents occurred and, you know, I don't know, there was police, like, something. I just feel like.
But like, would you do that? Like, let's say, like, you managed me, right? Let's just say, for instance, right, you managed me. If I don't tell you, how you gonna know that I got into a fight in Milwaukee?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we're assuming that these are the same people that were representing him in 2023.
Right.
That they would know, but we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? The people booking it could be completely different from the people that deal with his day to day.
I just feel like because you are a big, you know, let's just say star, an incident happened. Mm-hmm. There had to be a police report. Like things, I feel like certain things had to, for the police to even get involved, there had to be a police report.
You know what I'm starting to get the vibe? A lot of these people get into things, and they're helped out of those situations. Remember back in the day? And not to bring up Snoop Dogg again. Remember Snoop Dogg was at the VMAs, and he had the murder trial was coming on, and then the NYPD was coming to arrest him at the VMAs, and the producers got Snoop Dogg out of there, so he could go back to LA and do what he had to do. I think that happens a lot with celebrities.
But you knew, okay, they're looking for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm coming back.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I think sometimes, like, Antonio Brown pulled out his burner in public. You know what I'm saying? Like, at a public event. I just think sometimes they've been helped a lot out of situations. Yo, people come this way. We got you. No, we ain't see nothing. And I think they get helped enough, enabled enough. And like
that
it's like
an athlete. Just doesn't. Okay.
Yeah. I got it. You don't even remember this, probably half the shit that you probably got into a fight, then security got you out of there, you went back to your hotel, probably got high, got some pussy that night, and was like, oh, it's a funny story now. Not even really realizing that dude now went to the hospital.
Right, it's a serious incident.
Exactly. He told the cops what happened. Now they're looking for your name, and instead of reaching out to your people, they're like, oh, he'll be back. And then they rather get the press. You fly to London and turn yourself in, I guess could get some press, but they rather get the salacious, or we just ran up on him at the hotel, you know what I'm saying? Because it's embarrassing and all that. So that's the vibe I get, because they could have got him if they wanted to.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
I just think from a lot of stuff we see it, from Puff being so like brazen to beat up the Cassie in the hotel video. Like I said, I seen a video of Antonio Brown allegedly pulling out the burner and just after a fight, but it's like mad people around, you know what I'm saying? It's just like all the stuff we heard about Chris Brown over the years getting into. I think a lot of the times shit goes down. It pops off, and then, yo, security come, police come, you know what I'm saying? And they get shuffled out of those situations. Somebody else gets jammed up that's not as big of a name, that, you know what I'm saying? They was like, oh, they don't even realize, yo, you punched that nigga in the face before you bounced though. Not for, like,
not for you.
When Quavo take off, you know what I'm saying? That shit, they probably didn't think some shit like that would happen. niggas start shooting. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Like it's just, I just think sometimes that's not. That probably wasn't their first time getting into like some shit. So it's probably why they felt like they could talk shit or get, or you know what I mean. So it's just like I think shit like that happens, and 2020. It's crazy to say, but 2023 do feel like a lifetime ago.
It does.
Like that's like I think what the Israeli Gaza war was in 2020 at the end. But they're like, you're like, damn, that shit been going on for that long. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or if I talk about shit from the pandemic or whatever, it feel like it was a minute ago. So you know what I'm saying? My life ain't as fast paced as Chris Brown. He probably didn't even remember this shit happened. He probably like, we been here before. Yeah, but I wish him the best, man. Because like I said, but I think the biggest story here is handle your demons.
Yeah, your past will catch up with you.
Yeah. If it's violence, if Chris Brown has a thing with violence, yeah, I guess, I can see why you'd be embarrassed or ashamed of it, but it's like, don't just hide it away. You shouldn't still be getting in trouble at this. Like, I get it. Some shit happened when you were younger. Some got really bad. You should have learned from that. Other shit has happened since then. It's like, at this point, bro, you too old for this. And it's sad to say because you're young, but you've been getting in trouble for so long. Right. You're too old for this. And it's just like, or like when I hear about Travis Scott being drunk somewhere and getting arrested or something, it's like, yo, face your demons, because at some point it's gonna be more expensive than it is now. Right. They're gonna wait. They're gonna wait to embarrass you with it. They're gonna wait to pay you with it. Like Diddy, maybe he has some demons he should have faced, and you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't be sitting where he's at now. You know what I mean? So. That's the best advice I could give to people. Like, not everything's easy, not everything you want on you in terms of like that label, but sometimes you got to have it on you to get it off you. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of redemption stories of people admitting like
that's the first step.
Yeah, I'm not doing things the way I'm supposed to, and then we see them blow up later. We see them bounce back later, I should say so. In fact, I want to do a new segment here on the Perfect Talk podcast, man. We talk a lot about this guy. We've been talking about him for about over 8 years now. I think it's time Donald Trump gets his own segment on the Perfect Talk podcast. Okay. And we got to call it Trump Talk.
Trump Talk.
Trump Talk, man. First up, Trump getting a new plane from the nation of Qatar. Being gifted a palace in the sky, a luxury jumbo jet that he's going to use as Air Force One. And then ownership will be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation after his term. Being hailed as highly unconstitutional. Like apparently in the Constitution it says that we cannot accept gifts from foreign nations. Any political officer or person in the administration cannot receive gifts from foreign entities like that. And Trump is like, I don't care. He's like, y'all gonna get me a luxury plane? If not, I'm taking this one. Wild move, man. What did you think when you heard this, Mac? Trump on Trump?
Just wow. But yeah, I mean, it's not shocking. I mean, I can't even be mad at him. I mean, it is what it is.
I ain't gonna front. I would take, because I'm like, who's gonna stop me? And I think that's been his method.
Well, I wouldn't have that mentality, but that's the mentality he's had. Yeah. So I don't expect anything different. I mean, hey.
I'm mad at him because I don't think you should be. You're gonna be talking about policy. You're going to be talking about foreign issues, I'm assuming, on Air Force One while traveling. They don't, like, keep those... How do we know there's no bombs?
Well, I mean...
Microphones?
Apparently, it has to get retrofitted and all of that to be Air Force One. So one would think that they'll figure all of that stuff out, maybe.
We hope. It feels like a Trojan horse. It feels like...
It could be.
But yeah, but I think the bigger story here is that Trump is going to do what he wants to do, from deporting people, and we're talking about we'll figure it out later, or we'll fight that fight later. And it's from everything he's been doing, like from stopping aid to certain people. Like, we'll just fight it in the courts. And I don't know why he doesn't care for some reason. Why? Like, you have to pay these lawyers, I guess, or I don't know. But
I don't know. He doesn't have to pay them because he's the president, so we pay them.
He's using our money.
Yeah, it's not his money.
Yeah. Yeah, then I can't knock him then. Why not? I think it's gonna it's gonna be really weird the post-Trump era to see how the president moves post-Trump.
Super weird.
Yeah, because it's what you can do something, and that it's been, I don't want to say accepted, but allowed.
But what I will say is the Trump era, it shines a lot on a lot of holes that we have that will have to be addressed. That will be addressed
to prevent it from happening again. You think? Okay.
or set just new precedent. Like the Constitution is old. Like it was written. Like that's one of the things. Some of the issues that I have. Like we abide by a document that was created that I don't feel may not necessarily be fit for the times.
Don't they make amendments?
They do. Yeah. But I still think there's...
When was the last amendment made?
There's, the thing that needs to be updated, right? Yeah. Like, our founding fathers were born centuries ago. Yeah. Like, the world is very different.
It's true. Yeah. I think it's kind of like the Bible, right? Like, we don't live in the times of the Bible. But the issues of the Bible do exist, but there are things different, right? Like, even in the Bible itself, like, from... the Old Testament to New Testament, there's things that are done differently. Right. So, yes, from the entire book. So, yes, something that was written 200 years ago, it's the whole entire place. I think it's a good guideline. But to your point, I think definitely there needs to be updated. I don't know if we necessarily need one document. I think it's good to have one document because it gives somebody like, this is it. Those are the 10 commandments. Right. Those are the things. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if that's necessary, but you bring up a good point of there are holes that need to be figured out,
and that's going to happen. So yeah.
Hopefully,
no, I mean it will because he's challenging everything, he's forcing everything through the courts. So new laws will be created, all of that stuff as a result of this, and so
he caught an L in the courts this week, and he because he made 3. I don't know what you call them when you do it on Truth Social. I call them tweets. 3 social media posts that but one of them was aimed at the Supreme Court. But before we get to that one, he had one for he had smoke for Taylor Swift. Tweeted, "Has anyone noticed since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot?" I mean, I think her tour just ended, so he's probably not in the news as much. But I guess.
Oh, that's funny.
But that is super weird for a man that old to be beefing with 30-something-year-old girl. I can.
But why did she say something about him?
She supported Kamala.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But
that's all she's ever come out and done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think I heard she only came out and did that because he posted something on True Social, like an AI thing of her endorsing him. Mm. And he reposted that, so she felt kind of like. And then JD Vance with the cat lady comment, so she came out with a lot of support for Kamala. But yeah, he still got smoke for people who showing love to Kamala to this day. Megan Thee Stallion ain't gonna be at the White House anytime soon. Let's see. Then he had smoke for Bruce Springsteen, which is like, damn, he going after the white people. He going after white people, the white woman of the year, and the old white man that people love in a century. He's like, I see the highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the president of the United States. Never liked him. Never liked his music or his radical left politics. And importantly, he's not a talented guy. He's a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool, and our worst ever president who came close to destroying our country. Which is crazy because he starts us off by saying that Bruce Springsteen went to a foreign country to speak badly about the president of the United States. But he's speaking badly about a former president right now on a public platform. And during his campaign, the entire Biden administration, he spoke badly about the president of the United States. Right. So to come at Bruce Springsteen for that is a little hypocritical, but it's Trump being Trump. Hey, people, Bruce Springsteen, yeah. I'm sure white people haven't rebelled yet. Hey. That's their guy, man. That's the living on a prayer, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken. And then he came for the Supreme Court. He slammed the Supreme Court after the majority of justices blocked the Trump administration's effort to use a 1978 wartime law to deport a group of Venezuelan migrants. Trump criticized the Supreme Court's actions and wrote on social media, "This is a bad and dangerous day for America. The ruling will encourage other criminals to enter the country, causing great harm to our cherished American public." Yeah. I think it's just weird when you have a president that feels the need to express himself on social media. That's where I've never cared for that. I don't know if that moves the needle or...
I mean, I'm sure it does. It connects with a group of people.
Yeah.
I mean...
It obviously does. Man.
Social media.
You can't deny his engagement. And I mean, the man has a segment on the show, so how can we say that
he feels reachable? That's a very important piece.
But it's a one-way reach. I don't feel like I can talk to him.
You're right, but so if you want to, do I feel like I've ever felt connected to a president? I could say No, but Trump is as close as being connected as one could possibly get. He's always online.
Yeah, no, you know what you just did? That you said? Back in the day, remember when they used to like, you be watching something, let's say prime time, and all the stations, special report, and then the president comes on, and he got to talk. He's talking for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't sitting there for no hour wanting to hear what this dude got to say. Trump TikToks information, where it's like, here, I'll give it to you in 5 sentences. This is how I feel. I ain't got to stop your favorite TV show. I ain't got to boom. If you miss it, guess what? The news gonna tell you right after the show ends. The news gonna tell you what I just tweeted. And no, how could you get mad at that? Whether you like it or not, the information gets to us. Whereas it did feel like a barrier. I didn't know how a president thought before.
Exactly.
Before this, I didn't know how Biden thought. They still don't.
They still don't.
Oh man!
But that certainly will change politics. Just social media. Trump has showed that.
Yeah, I think if you have to have a social media presence, and I think he who wins on social media is going to win in politics. It's sad to say, but I don't even know if it's sad to say. I think it's just
just where we're at.
Times, yeah. It feels like you want to say it's sad to say. It's like social media. Who takes that
but
serious?
hey, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where
People
we're at.
become billionaires on social media. What are we talking about?
So you gotta embrace it.
Yeah. Spec, man. We got to move on to my favorite segment. It's called Have You Heard. I hear things or see things, and I bring them to the table and speak here on Perfect Talk Podcast. Spec, Knicks in 6, dog. Got them up out of there.
Go.
World champion, Boston Celtics. They got them out of there in 6 games, man.
New York.
Had to sacrifice Jason Tatum, unfortunately, to get there, but it was a moment for New York.
Big moment.
We were turning up. You would have thought we just made it to the finals.
We taking it all the way. It's New York, nigga. Hey, yo, Tatum, I hope you okay. Slide. We sent him to Cancun. We sent him Diddy with him. Damn, you're a fucking bitch. I'm gonna cut Jason Tatum, nigga. I love your baby mom, so she look good. Call the National Guard right now. We not going home. What you talking about? It's a Boston Tea Party. We smoking that Boston pack. Fuck Boston, nigga. Russian is the king of New York. I love you. Look at this shit. He poured honey in his motherfucking mouth. Boston Clyde, Bumble Clyde. This is insane. This shit look like the Christmas parade. How the fuck did he even get up there? Fuck Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, yo, Dunkin' Donuts. Suck my dick.
Won the finals.
You thought we won the shit. It's about to have a parade. Like, people were acting the fool, dog. I seen a dude sitting on top of a billboard.
He was crazy. I wonder, he had on slides. How the hell he get up there?
I'm thinking boredom. I'm thinking he had the sneakers on and then brought the slides and then just threw the sneakers. But now he got to get back down. I don't know. I seen the dude get hit with the garbage bag wearing the Pacers jersey.
Oh, nah. She's trying to save the day. Oh, shit.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Brian Windhorst getting ran up on.
How do you feel about Boston losing? I don't give a fuck. Knicks is 6, Pushy. Took all that shit now. What you gotta say?
But if you're not from New York, if you never had a New York area code, it might be like very weird and why this is happening. Like you might think, oh well, they beat the world champions, they think they're gonna win it all now. But no, it's just because we've been heartbroken so many times.
So
as Knicks
long.
fans. Yep. And a lot of people, they talking back 25 years since we made it to this point. But I'm thinking before that, the Patrick Ewing Starks era. That's when my pain come from. Like that was the Jeff Van Gundy, Allen Houston, I think era. But before that, you know what I'm saying, where we had the John Starks, like I said, the Patrick Ewings, the Larry Johnsons. You know what I'm saying? Like it was that the Anthony Masons, like that era. Like it was, we felt pain. Right. We had that 1 year, Jordan was out. And it was like, the window's there, we getting close, and then what happens? We didn't even make it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Like, we got to take everything we get as New Yorkers now. Doing a little too much, a little too early. we got to fall, but we got to bring it back a little bit. But I am excited to play the Pacers. That's a rival right there.
That's going to be a great series.
Halliburton's scary. He did not appreciate, I remember you said last episode he was voted most overrated player.
Oh, yeah, overrated player.
And that's an informal poll, but that's other players that were.
It's
polled.
players though.
Yeah,
it is informal, but it's the players who.
No, when you had said it, I was like, damn, they do that because I know they vote for like all-star stuff and shit like that. And they vote, and some people on the committees vote for MVP and things like that. But when you had told me that, I was like, damn, that's a cold-blooded topic. But I found out it was like a magazine, I think, that does it. But they talked to all the other players. But no, he felt some type of way about that rating, and he's been showing it all playoffs. So I'm excited to play against him. And they got a squad over there. They got a little team.
They
so.
do. It should be very interesting.
Yeah, we're scrappy in there. I get scared though that like we focus too much on Brunson. Like, not that I don't think Boston had this problem with Tatum, but once Tatum went down, it was different. They came back that next game and it was hunger, but it wasn't sustainable. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if Brunson ever happens, God forbid, goes down, or
no, if Brunson goes down, that's
a wrap.
it. No, there's no.
But I hate depending too much on one player, and that's the uncomfortable feeling.
It is
about
what
it
is.
If all goes well, it's very dangerous.
Brunson, he's they said he scored the most points over this amount of games than anybody in playoff history. So I mean, he's just been,
past Kobe and all that.
Yeah,
right?
he passed Kobe. Yeah. Kobe had the record. So he's just been on fire.
Clutch player of the year, which is I think the award he won. But yeah, he's a problem. And I like just the scrappiness of the Knicks, man. That Villanova squad that they brought over there, them boys play well together. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting series. What do you think about while we're recording, this Game 7 of OKC and Denver hasn't happened yet? But
that's today, right?
Yeah, it's about to happen actually in a couple hours. I like the way OKC's looking. I don't know if Denver has enough. OKC's fast, they're young, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got the Joker on the other side.
Joker, and if Murray shows up.
Aaron Gordon is 50. He's questionable though, right?
I did hear about that.
Yeah, and he's a big part.
But he's been clutch for them this playoffs.
Yeah, that might be the element right there that takes.
If Gordon plays, if Murray shows up, and I'm just gonna assume Jokic does what Jokic does, they will win tonight.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like the youth over there.
But I would prefer to see OKC versus Minnesota than I would.
That's an exciting series right there.
Denver versus Minnesota.
Yeah, SGA. I think because like that's the really the new who's next. Mm-hmm. It's going to be AE or SGA because I think that's a young superstar right there.
And Denver, for whatever reason, they seem not to be able to beat Minnesota. Like Minnesota just seems to have their number.
Yeah, they got a squad over there too.
So.
But I didn't like the way AE was looking in the last couple games, though. I think he's getting a little tired. But he's had a long rest.
It's possible.
Yeah, because he's not, I don't think, more of attrition, and they're not used to playing this long, typically, so.
But, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Durant had something to say about some people that were talking about Jason Tatum. So, Emmanuel Acho, who works over at Fox Sports, he was basically alluding that Boston's better now that Tatum's out. And KD, KD made that face you just made, which is it's a wild statement, but
I know where this is going. Like teams are never better without their star player. It just so happens that once the star player goes down,
they get hungry.
Everybody, they start to do more than what they're normally accustomed to. But teams are never better without their star player.
And they're rallying around it. They got the adrenaline.
Right.
You seen the guy go down.
You've seen the difference between Game 5 and Game 6 with Boston, right? Game 5, they rallied around Tatum's injury.
Josh Hart bleeding from the damn eye.
But Game 6, it was a wrap at that point.
But so in their defense, Emmanuel Acho, that's what he gets paid to do. It's his show. No one's going to watch a show if he doesn't make crazy statements like that. Fat Joe and Jadakiss have just started a new podcast. And I've been hearing all week of just Fat Joe just saying crazy statements. Not crazy, but like statements that he knows people are going to respond to.
Okay.
He did the 50 Cent, sat in front of, I think 50 Cent was sitting next to Fat Joe, but Joe Budden's behind him, and 50 Cent's recording Joe Budden. So you know what I mean? Fat Joe says some slick shit about Joe Budden. I don't think he cares about Joe Budden. I think he knows Joe Budden has the #1 podcast in the urban. So why not start a war? You know what I'm saying? Fat Joe says something like, Kendrick took the most dominant West Coast rapper spot from Snoop and Tupac. Well, I don't think he really feels like that, but he knows they're going to ask Snoop about that when he's promoting his album, and Snoop's going to say something kind of slick back. You know what I mean? Snoop's like, he's not from the West.
I wouldn't argue with that statement, to be honest, at this point.
Snoop's response was, he's not from the West. He can't even make that statement, though. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he wants. Now we're talking about it. Now it builds a buzz. And that's what Emmanuel Acho has to do. Now, I'll show you Durant's response, and then we'll see how we feel about that.
Because I want to go as far as to say the Boston Celtics match up better versus the New York Knicks without Jason Tatum than they do with Jason Tatum. Not because of talent.
Break that down.
Not because of talent, exclusively because of mindset. I believe that a team is a reflection of its leader. Jason Tatum is the leader of the Boston Celtics. They are an incredible team, an incredibly talented team, but they are not as tough a team. There was a...
I think he says what you just said with the mentality that they're going to rush up. But KD, hopped in the comments and was like, hot takes artists have ruined the sports. Football guys, no disrespect, but y'all boys need to stay in y'all lanes. You don't know what it is like between these lines, man. Give it a break. Dudes who quit football early to pursue media talking mental toughness.
Cut it out.
Remember how I said that back in Jordan's day, there was a stigma? I think that's like the same stigma where they kind of like, well, you talking about it, but you ain't do it. Now, I agree with KD. I don't care for watching Stephen A. Smith tell a Zion Williams what he's not doing, because you can't do what Zion does. Mm-hmm. Now, you could say you feel like he's lazy. Yeah, sure. But it's like, at the end of the day, you can't do what he does. And Zion's not the best example because he seems kind of lazy. But at the end of the day, he's more of an athlete than Stephen A. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like, these guys are physical, like, in the 1% of athletes. And to watch someone who doesn't play the sport or who didn't play it professionally talk about him is kind of like, what does your opinion count? But when you take an Emmanuel Acho who played football, to me, it's like athlete. Like, he gets the athlete mentality. So I don't know if KD's take necessarily, other than the fact it's a different sport. But then at that point, when are we just going to only let basketball guys talk about basketball? We're only going to let football guys talk about football?
I mean, I would prefer to be that way, but because I don't, like, for instance, I'd rather not hear Stephen A. I'd rather just hear him talk about basketball.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Because he's a journalist of basketball.
Right, okay. Right. I'd rather not hear Skip Bayless talk about basketball.
Okay, just football.
Right. Okay. And so, because you know what you know, but because here's the thing, right? Huge basketball fan.
I'm trying to think, how do you feel about Shannon Sharp talking about basketball?
Well, so when I hear Shannon Sharp talk, like, obviously he's a LeBron fan. So, I don't mind hearing Shannon only because, like, he talks about the things other than LeBron. Yeah, but, he's a LeBron D-rider. And so I don't mind hearing him talk. I
get what you're saying there, but I also
I just don't like, you don't have the expertise or you didn't play it, so how can you have these? There's just certain things you will not understand, not having played it, not having been a part of it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear your opinion on it. And it's just that simple. Now, does that mean
they pick and choose when they want to feel like that?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're talking about,
they let Pat McAfee talk about anything, but now it's like you don't agree with Emmanuel Ocho, so now football guys can't talk about it. But Pat McAfee interviewed LeBron,
so it depends on who it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
Different personalities. Like you said, Shaq would be better for TV. We knew that when he was in the NBA. I just don't do that. You're not entitled. You could be like, I don't agree. I don't agree with you, bro. Like, I think Jason Tatum is a great leader. Does he come across? I think there's a hidden thing underneath there where they're trying to say Jason Tatum's soft. I think that's what Emmanuel was kind of like tryup.
Well, that's what because
and there's a lot of media people that have that idea of Jason Tatum being soft. His coach was yelling at him, "Get up, get up!" So it's like.
Officials will obviously look at that.
That's, I think, what a lot of people, not when he got the Achilles injury, but the
I'm curious if they show him when he caught the Achilles injury.
No, I think he was right there on the floor. He's doing a full circle. I think
get this nigga up on the floor.
Joe Mazzulla, I gotta put that in the episode where he got up. I was like, yo. Joe Mazzulla was not falling, which makes me think, how many times did he see that in practice or whatever the case? That was weird. He knows something we don't know.
I'm like, wow.
I never seen your own coach do that, bro. I see coaches react when their own players get dunked on. I've never seen a coach tell a player that looked like he's injured, get up. That was Meek Mill talking to the wrestler thing.
Oh man.
But whatever the case may be, I think there's an underlying thing about him being soft, and I think KD was like, yo, you don't know what you're talking about. But he's talking about mentality of what a team does when they start playing down. A football player, I think, could speak to that. They've been there when it might be the dude on the other side of the ball. Maybe your quarterback's down. I play defense. Yeah. The game's still different if our quarterback's down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think to try to discredit people just because they play another sport. Now, if you're just a journalist, I agree. Yeah, bro, get out of here. You type. Tell me that. I'm a DJ. What do I know to talk
You know
about
why I
certain
think?
things? But don't,
You know why I think? Because KD has been part of this narrative before as well.
Oh,
like he goes down. Oh well, the team they seem to be performing, better without. Are they better without? Like, but and aside from KD, you hear that with a lot of players. Like, the star goes down, but the team is doing well. Are they better without him? Like, come on. Like, and so personally, I hate when that narrative gets spun. Like, that's why when you brought it, I'm like, come on, like, because media loves to spin that narrative because you do see that with team when the star goes down. A lot of times the team, for whatever reason, they start to play well. But don't get it twisted. The team is not better without the star player.
Which I think the people in that segment know. They know what's gonna stop people in their tracks to stop.
Oh yeah. Like these people in the media, they don't believe everything that they be saying at times. They have a job to do.
The politician, political media don't believe what they believe half the time, but they'll fight with the other side, just like they, and then the cameras go off and they go out and have drinks together. So like I think but you brought up a good point. KD might have had a sensitivity and felt like a little twinge, hit dogs holler type of shit, and felt like he had to respond to that. But KD, you kind of got sucked into because now you gave him another day of content to respond to you. And you know that these people, you just said it, they recycle the same storylines and just add insert player here. Before it was KD, now are they better without John Morant?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's because they got nothing else. I don't watch as much sports television like I used to maybe in my 20s and early 30s because I realized I'm like, it's the same thing. Like, I want to watch a game.
Right.
I like the game. Right? I fooled myself into thinking I like these shows. No, I really like the game. You know what I'm saying? And I had to grow out of it. But the fact of the matter is that shit plays all day until the game starts. So they have to get content. I think Ocho might have responded, but
Kevin Durant is a top 15 basketball player of all time. So let's make that abundantly clear that Kevin Durant is one of the greatest to have ever laced up sneakers and graced a basketball court ever. But here is where I would suggest several things are wrong and several things are conflated. Number one, I do think individuals who did not play the sport have an ability to articulate their thoughts on a sport if they give it the necessary respect that it deserves. I believe that, not just football talking about basketball, not just basketball talking about football. I think far too often we make the mistake of the appeal to authority fallacy. And what that very simply put is that we have to believe that someone is an expert on something just because they said so. If your rich neighbor tells you to invest in a stock and you ask them why, well, because I'm rich, duh, when they do not give you any supporting evidence. Now, the claim that I am making in regards to the Boston Celtics that I do not want to be conflated is very, very, very simple. I believe that Jaylen Brown plays a tougher brand of basketball than Jason Tatum. I do not think that the Celtics are a better team without Jason Tatum than they are with Jason Tatum. I believe that they match up better against the New York Knicks with Jaylen Brown as a leader than with Jason Tatum as a leader because Jaylen Brown plays a tougher brand of basketball.
That's another thing, too, is there's too much nuance to try to go back and forth. You know what I mean? I think as Kevin Durant realized,
time to explain
he only got about 3 minutes per segment and then he got to share that with the four other guys at the desk. So it's like, KD, don't get sucked into it. You know what I mean? You guys do. Plus, this guy's he writes books. This dude's a talk artist. He want to talk. You can tell he got excited just to talk about this and go on in depth about it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you 3 minutes to talk about it. But at the end of the day, you're beefing with people that it's no point because you don't have your own show to profit off of them. You know what I'm saying? Your profitability doesn't go up when you beef with Ocho. You don't sell more sneakers. Right. He gets more ratings though when he does. But you also are allowed to agree to disagree, I guess, and to defend KD. I think I got sensitive about it to kind of take away just because he didn't play the sport. He's not an expert. Spec, man, have you heard these crazy kids cannot stay out the news, man? Halle Bailey was granted temporary physical and legal custody of her son Halo after ex-boyfriend's DDG's alleged abuse. I found out about this and I saw an Instagram reel about it. He found out on stream. He was on stream with Aiden Ross, and then people started hitting him up, and then he looked, I think he searched a link or something like that, and he found out that there was a restraining order put against him. Order of protection? Yeah, Halle is alleging abuse, said she did it without giving him notice because she thought that he might try to take the kid away or do something crazy. Says that she has evidence of abuse. And this has just been crazy because this whole thing has just been like messy since it happened. Like I think the first time we actually spoke about them was like the Usher concert, and I just thought they were just kind of like two kids. All right, they breaking up. They at the end of the day both. She's a way bigger celebrity than he is, but they both have fame of some sort. And they just reached the end of their road. But ever since they broken up, they just been staying in the news for like the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And I saw they're alleging now that she's messing with the R&B singer Brent Faiyaz, which I mean, was she not supposed to? She's moved on. But they're saying like maybe that she was messing with him while she was still with DDG, and that's what's causing some of these issues and whatnot. But what I will say to them, I believe they're both young. Well, first of all, there will never be another black Disney princess after this. she ruined it for all of them. I just want y'all to know that. Y'all ain't never gonna see a black Pocahontas. They ain't never gonna turn Snow White black. It's just she messed it up for all of them. But what I will say is, I think without they're doing certain things, and I really would hope that she's not gonna get a restraining order against someone if there really wasn't abuse. But let's, for the sake of argument, maybe there is. Y'all doing things now because y'all young that you're gonna regret later. You also got to remember that your son is gonna eventually see these things. Your future children might see these things. And to DDG's credit, I've never really seen him disrespect her. I've never really seen. I know he hasn't always been happy with her. I know he hasn't always felt like he sees his son. But for a young dude, I've never really seen him go out his way to paint a terrible picture of. I mean, now he's been accused of something that he's denying, so he's probably a little bit more strong about it. Even honestly, I think even in this, he was kind of on some like the truth will come out. Like there's no. So, like I said, once again, I hope that this isn't anything. I hope child abduction wasn't really something. I hope she kind of was just off the deep end. I have gotten that vibe from her that maybe since she's had this kid, she hasn't made the best decisions. But I'm not going to sit here in front like I paid attention to this girl before she was the Little Mermaid or whatever. I mean, I knew, well, she had a group with her sister, right? A singing group. Other than that, I'm not going to front like I know these people. But the behavior has been a little erratic. I'm not going to say it's different than before, like I said, I didn't know it before. But it wouldn't surprise me if she might have been dealing with some type of depression or postpartum or just the timing of their breakup and all that type of stuff. And just being young and celebrities, I think, is affecting them. But, yeah, I was hoping that I wouldn't be seeing them in the news no more, and it's not going in a great direction where it's going. But and it's also weird, too, because usually when a woman comes out speaking of abuse, most people, take their side or at least will follow them. But there's been a strong contention online that's like, she's foul, she's lying, this ain't real, this is proof that she ain't do this. And I'm just like, that's where it gets even weirder. Because, I'm like, if this really is some type of abuse shit, to be attacked after trying to protect yourself with an order of protection is weird. Any advice for these kids, Spec?
No.
No?
I don't know, man.
Raise your kid. That's what I think the advice is. Like, really, like, raise your kid.
Just, like, no matter what y'all do, just have your kid in the forefront of it all. Like,
all this pride stuff and all this trying to win on the internet stuff is going to get real old because the people that you think care and really care about those dunks, they don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck. And actually, they probably laugh when they see, y'all going through y'all downfall. So, do what y'all got to do for y'all. Move on. DDG, you will find another woman. Halle, you will find another man if you haven't already. And y'all going to look back on this like, damn, we was wasting a lot of time. Cardi B sitting courtside with Stephon Diggs now. So, there's hope for anybody. Like,
was she?
Yeah. And that don't mean she's not still going with shit with Offset, but at least we're not hearing about it. Right. They're not popping up on live and talking about it.
So they a couple now?
I guess, but I could have sworn I heard a couple weeks ago he was messing with Young Miami.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Maybe they're just not like exclusive. Like,
okay.
She's not looking to settle down.
Cool.
Yeah, I could see that being more of. I don't know why she would be cool with him dating another female rapper, but I think they kind of just.
I mean, but if they're not exclusive, then it don't matter because
they probably mess with other people too.
Yeah, it's just when we around each other. We around each other. When we not, we not.
Just protect yourselves, y'all, because a lot going on out here. Spec, before we get up out of here, man, we got to move on to my favorite segment on the show, and that's things I seen on the internet. First one up. Are you familiar with Theo Von? You know who that is? He's a podcaster.
No.
Theo Von, back in the day, he was on, I want to say, was it Road? I think it was the Road Rules. Remember that show on MTV? So he was like alumni. That's where I first heard of him. And then he became a comedian after that. Okay. After his run happened, but he got really popular as a comedian and then started a podcast. And as last year, he interviewed Trump. He's one of the few he said Trump did a couple of manosphere podcasts. Yeah, so he's famous. Like there's no denying that Theo Von is famous, and I think sometimes when you're famous, and you come from humble beginnings, you want to go back, hanging out at the bar, chilling, just having a good time. You kind of hope that things are gonna go like they used to go. I'm just gonna go out, have a couple drinks, go back home. You're famous. It's not. It's not gonna happen. And Theo Von had to. Theo Von, I'll show you the video. This dude comes over with the balloons. Looks like he don't want to be bothered. Words exchanged. Grabbed him by the throat, pushed him back.
Oh, who's that thick
Shorty
one?
thick, right? Shorty thick.
Hey.
Theo Von changed his mind. He like, all right, y'all can hang out with us. I didn't know she was with you. I think this is one of them situations where who knows, this might have been like the 10th or 11th time this dude might have came up to him. You know, you can already see that he's not in the mood.
He's
and,
like, leave me alone type shit.
Balloons hitting the chick that he's with and shit. Like, but I feel you're going to have to pay him now. Like, I can't imagine a world where you're not going to have to pay that guy. He's not stupid. He knows.
Oh, she is thick, boy.
She's the reason I
don't even care about them.
But bro, you with a nice little baddie. Like, chill with her. Why you messing with Theo Von? Like, why? Because you want someone to record you. You want some fame. Like, leave him. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I think. And I'll preface and say I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm not drinking for a year and a half. And I used to DJ. I used to be in the club even when I was drinking. Just see how much of an asshole it turns people into. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that no one could drink and not become an asshole. A lot of people can't, though. A lot of people don't know when to say when. A lot of people don't know when to chill. They want to get in the fights. They want to get their rocks off. They think they got some entitlement to Theo Von. I don't know. You said this video starts with them recording them, and then he walks over there. I feel like he was setting it up. Like, on some, I'm about to go over there and, like, you know what I mean? Make a joke. I'm going to have to get him to take a picture with us. And it got real rough real quick. Yeah, he didn't want to smoke no more. Yeah, it's my birthday, man. Come on. Also, celebrities too. You should be left alone. She tried to shake his hand after. He's like, I'll meet you. Celebrities, you gotta know it ain't like back in the day. You know, you ain't in college no more. You can't just be at the bar where anybody could just walk up with you or travel with security.
Right.
But it ain't the same no more. You can't interview Donald Trump and go hang out at the bar. And now it would really suck if you gotta give this dude hundreds of thousands, maybe you know what I mean, $1 million because of a moment where you just could have had a separate thought. Right. Went outside and smoked a cigarette. Spec, the NBA combine happened this past week. There's a player named Johni Broome. How tall is Johni Broome? He looks like a real tall guy. Let me get his height. But he was at the NBA combine. And he didn't have the best vertical. Hold on, I want to see his height. The way they're making fun of his vertical, I'm assuming he's super tall. So he's 6'10", 240 pounds. You should have some ups.
10, 240, okay.
240 is heavy, but I mean, he's tall. So,
right.
You know what I mean? So, you imagine, you know what I mean, he might have some hops, but he didn't.
Oh, damn. Damn. I mean, he do got knee braces on both knees.
Oh, man, he made them Zion knees, you think?
He ain't getting drafted. Like, no way. Like, you have to at least be able to touch the rim. He can't even fucking grab the rim.
You think they're gonna try again?
Not that. Damn.
Are you familiar with the website Duolingo? The app Duolingo? So I think you could learn Spanish, French, any language.
Yeah.
Their social media page is like hilarious. I don't know if it's their Twitter or their Instagram, but they be trolling niggas, and they definitely was trolling Johni Broome. They wrote that at the bottom. Learn Chinese and try Super Duolingo today. Bro, Duolingo is disrespectful, bro. Learn Chinese. I think learn Chinese might be like generous. I ain't seen. I don't know, Johnny. I mean, I'm not gonna judge you over watching you jump one time. I know I haven't seen your career, but yeah, when Duolingo is getting shots off on you, I don't know, bro. Learn Chinese and try super Duolingo today. That's when you got. That's why when having a smart like social media team, like you know what I'm saying. That's when they get you business because they know how to go viral, man. But Spec, that's another episode in the books, my brother. Where can my people find you on social media?
Nowhere.
You can find your guy DJ Playboy on X at DJ Playboy. You can find me on Instagram at Plickapeezy, PLICCAPEEZY, and you can find Perfect Talk Podcast on Instagram at Perfect Talk Radio. Go check out the website, www.perfecttalkpodcast.com, for everything Perfect Talk Podcast, all the episodes right there. And my DJ Playboy mixes are up there too. Go check out the Night Shift. Episode 1 and 2 is up now. I got episode 3 on the way. So go check out the radio show, The Night Shift, where we just doing mixes, hitting it up for y'all, man. Go check that out. And of course, you get your merch right there on the website as well. So go check. I ain't got nothing to show y'all, but usually I do have a cup or something. But,
and get in them comments, people. We want to hear what you think.
Hell yeah. Go check out the YouTube. Like Spec said, hop in the comments. Make sure you leave a like and turn them notifications on so you can know when we drop.
You might make the show.
Exactly. Hit that subscribe button too. We getting them subscribers up right now, man. And we up out of here. We gonna go check the playoffs. Spec, say goodbye to the people, brother.
Peace.
Peace.